Hello, I am Barendipitous, and this is another update video for my personal art journey. So I believe the last time I made a video on this, in this sort of series, I suppose, I had just passed day 100 of drawing. Now again, this is not 100 days drawing every single day, although I did try to do that for a while, but I have since skipped lots of days. But that was day 100 since I started really starting my art journey in earnest, right? End of February of 2026. I think one of the last few days of February was when I officially started, and then I just kind of kept tracking my days through there. So today, we have passed day 150, but also more significantly, I participated in Art Fight for the first time. So I don't know. I don't think if it weren't for Art Fight, I probably would not have made a video for this. I probably would make one for day number 200 or something. But I felt like Art Fight was a significant enough sort of artist experience that I wanted to share that. And also, I did draw a decent amount in here in my sketchbook. Didn't really draw anything else, anything new in my smaller sketchbook yet. Um, Life happening, of course, and just you know not having the best daily practice habits. But here we go. By the way, I have this setup right here. Instead of a top down, I have this camera set up because I'm going to be sharing my screen for Art Fight as well. So anyway, as a reminder, day number 100 looked like this. All right, this is what I drew. I tried to draw Barendipitous for any major milestones. And yeah, I'm just going to be sort of like showing my sketchbook like this. A lot of sort of like random things. The sketch of all the people at the table, that was a sketch of mahjong players in Shanghai based on a photo that I saw in a book about the history of mahjong. If you want to know, it's Annalise Hines' book called Mahjong, a Chinese Game and the Making of Modern American Culture. And this particular picture was on page 25, and I wanted to try to draw that. Then I drew something from a local store as well. I thought the archway and curtains was kind of cool. Then on June 16th, I said that I haven't been very good at daily drawing practice this past week, or the past few months, honestly. It's mostly just laziness and not finding a good, consistent time each day. I'm going to try taking 5 to 10 minutes after dinner each day to draw, if I haven't already that day. But today I also discovered that the annual online art fight starts next month. All are welcome to participate. I have enough time to prepare characters and participate. So that was June 16th that I had heard of Art Fight, but it just kind of didn't really dawn on me that I could participate myself. And so I figured, why not? So that same day, I wrote this note. Art Fight is a fun online art trade event. Well, okay, not necessarily trade. It's an art, because trading is not required necessarily. It's more like art gifting. It's an art gifting event that started in 2007 officially, although started in 2007. Artists choose teams. This year it's comedy versus tragedy versus mystery, and I chose Team Mystery. You attack by making art of a person's character from another team, gaining points for your team. There's revenge and friendly fire, but it all comes down to drawing each other's characters for fun. I think this would be a great opportunity for me to stretch my art skills because artists of all skill levels and mediums are welcome. This came at a perfect time for me because I've struggled to make art practice a habit lately. This this plus all the photos I've taken in my Japan trip gives me plenty of inspiration to draw for the next while. For the next few pages, I plan to draw the characters I want to display on my Art Fight page. Barendipitous has been has been drawn in here already, but I'd like to include some of my favorite TTRPG characters, and maybe Cobweb if my wife allows it, which she did. I'd like to provide at least one of my own drawings for each character, even if I already have fan art made by others. Wow, this sketchbook doesn't seem to like getting cracked wide open. Page bundles are getting a bit displaced, so it's hard to write straight. So yeah, I don't know if you can tell very well, but yeah, the this for this particular sketchbook, it doesn't like being opened all the way out like this, even though I tried to kind of like plan it that way. But yeah, the pages are kind of peeling apart away from the binding a little bit. Guess you can't really see. Anyway, makes writing it a little bit hard, but whatever. But yeah, so I already had Barendipitous, but I drew Aaron Barendipity. This was the gambler cleric who worshipped Lady Luck. He was kind of the precursor to Barendipitous. Let's see. One of my other characters I really like, Presta Runa Kane, who she has green eyes and green hair. I played her in a Pathfinder campaign before, and she basically has a. I made her a counterfeit mage. Like she wants to cast magic, but she can't or whatever, and so she kind of makes it look like she can cast magic. Cobweb is my wife's character from a D&D campaign. Little a silly little fairy druid. Faquali made some fantastic art. I commissioned her to make some fantastic art of Cobweb. Another character I really like, Regina, Dawn of Lay. This person right here. She only fights with shields, which I thought was a really cool idea. So she has a shield on each arm, plus a big shield on the back. And then my very first D&D character, Yarharet Tintinabular. He is a silver dragonborn bard, specifically a librarian, who collects stories throughout the universe. So those are the characters that I submitted into my Artfight site. I will show my Artfight website, my page, in a little bit. But yeah, I drew a tree in a park. Also, I think that same day there was a sound test happening out on a street somewhere, and so I kind of like I stood somewhere and kind of sketched that point of view of people doing a bit of a sound check on a stage with a big building behind it, which was cool. I recently discovered an artist meetup group in my local area, and so I decided to join that and be part of it. And in the first meeting I went to, it was just hanging out really. We met at a park near an industrial park, and so I sketched this top piece right here. Of that industrial park, and then the guy who began the group, he was painting in front of me. I couldn't really see what he was painting while I was drawing, so I wasn't copying him at all. But I saw, he was a very experienced painter, and I thought it was really cool to meet him and other artists. Cobweb and I really got in towards the end of June. We really got into a show called Just Makeup, which is a Korean game show, and so I drew this. This is someone who looks like one of the competitors, or it is the conglomerate of one of the competitors. This was inspired by and drawn while watching the Just Makeup Korean game show. Also, I have continued to draw Brawlhalla characters. This is Koji number 20 here, where he says, well, I killed her demon husband, so it's complicated. So there's that. Okay, and now this is where Artfight is going to begin. I'm going to just kind of show you what's on my sketchbook, and you'll see how it looks on the Artfight page as well. But what I've done is, okay, so basically, like I tried following a bunch of people that I knew, and like people that they follow and whatever. My goal was to make at least one art attack for each person that followed me, or that I was following, that was participating this year. I did not draw all the art attacks I would have wanted, but it would have been a lot anyway. It would have been more than 20 in 1 month. I think I still did a pretty good job. I figured, like, I didn't really care necessarily if people attacked me with art or not. I put characters on there in case anyone was interested, but I was more interested in continuing and stretching my art goals, and making someone's day by drawing their character, right? Also, most art on Artfight, from what I can tell, was digital art, and so I think I'm in the minority with traditional physical art here. So I thought that'd be fun too. Not everyone has traditional art of their character out there in the wild. So yeah, I'll just kind of show each of these here. This is probably one of the best ones I did, but the very second one, I'm very happy with that one. So yeah, we have Tamara playing the ocarina, character by Frolicking Ferret. I was really excited about this one. Character by Rennie, because why not? Tin Larry, basically a robot, kind of transforms into a Model T. We have Nova and Harper Against the World, characters by Scorpion_Pi. Here we have Sonia and her child Alferuz, characters by Orklid. It's at Orklid on Twitter, or on X Twitter or whatever. Zero RCHLID on Twitter. So there's that. Yeah, Bonnie's 9 to 5, character by Gubby Fall. Then we have Seraphine on a Good Day, character by Momokoi or Sato. Roxy, just a girl. I'm very pleased with how this chain. This pose was inspired by Mina the Hollower. This pose was inspired by Laura Croft here, but yeah, Mina the Hollower has a ball and chain flail thing, and so I kind of use that as inspiration for the pose and for it. I really like how this curve worked out. And I drew the individual links on there, as you can see. Also, so this is a character by Adam underscore Parrish, aka Rosie. By that same person, there's Ophelia, or Ophi for short. I really enjoyed these two. All right, so this is so Horatius, god of death and time, character by Navia Fuskina. Sorry if I mispronounced that. But I have Horatius saying, "It is my grave displeasure to inform you that time is not on your side." I've always wanted to draw one of Navia's cool like object head characters, and I thought this was really cool. I tried to prioritize sometimes characters that didn't really have any or very many art attacks. And then Breda Bagu had this really cool time character here, just named Time. And this character is giving a lecture saying, "Put simply, with regards to the self-improvement of a skill or passion, it's about time." And I put the time on there as the around the time that I was actually drawing that morning, around a little after 10 a.m. that day. And then I drew a few characters by Faquali because I love Faquali's character designs. So we have Ira living life by the runes because she's a rune knight here. Then we have Lady Death Smiles. I have her kind of making this pose here, but also I have her giving the classic quote from Majora's Mask. "Oh dear, you've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" And then one more character by Faquali. Lufon exposes a harsh truth. So I tried to do a different perspective. I tried to do it where like you're looking at him from below and he's staring down at you. More specifically, that you are lying in your bed, maybe like, maybe he's your sleep paralysis demon or something. And he like tugs the blanket away from you and it's holding it. And he's saying, "The blanket does nothing to stop nightmares." I was inspired by this idea came from there's a horror anthology podcast I've listened to called the Magnus Archives, and there's an episode where in the story, not really overall spoilers. There's a lot of like individual stories in there, but there's like the person telling the story, the narrator is scared of this monster, and so they cower in their blankets and everything. And the monster kind of like taps on the top of the blanket, but then after a little while, the narrator hears the monster whisper something to the effect of, "The blanket never did anything." And so I thought that would be kind of an interesting idea for this God of Nightmares here. And then Pat Hyena's his pink hyena character, basically he's drawn. So Pat Hyena has drawn Baron Dibitus multiple times. And so I feel like it's only fair that I draw Hyena's character at least once. So I have Pat Hyena teases a librarian. So he's kind of like popping out of a book because he can change his shape and whatever. And so he's kind of like winking at you and he said, "Hey, you checking me out?" Like checking out a book. Anyway, I thought it was funny. Those are all the art attacks I did in my sketchbook, and I'll show my art fight page in a little bit. And I just have a couple more pages in my sketchbook before I get there. So if you're interested, so this is day number 150 right here. Just this right here. I know that's not very much, and I kind of explain a little bit in these pages here, but this is a very quick sketch of Baron kind of like drawing a countryside or something like that, right? So here's what I wrote. I said, "These past 50 days," this is the end of July, "these past 50 days, I often had a hard time feeling motivated to draw. I've made a bunch of art attacks and other drawings, but more often than not, I felt disappointed in the results. This is especially true with characters, like figures, like humanoid figures. I want to improve, but I also want this to stay fun, otherwise I'll stop drawing. I've been learning the difference between wanting to and having to draw, and I can focus on subjects and situations I enjoy. I can, and probably should, still try to do studies and practices more often, especially figure drawing, but I'm going to make sure I keep drawing for fun. More importantly, remembering to focus on the journey, the act of drawing more than the result. That's where the true joy of drawing is for me, I'm finding out. Results focused equals being present while drawing it's a wonderful experience. I'll add, Art Fight was a great experience. Although I feel I'm not great at drawing figures still, I've had a lot of fun drawing other people's characters. I've also learned that I currently enjoy and do better with half body drawings than full body ones for now. Because as much as, even though I did enjoy these characters, I felt like I did a better job with the sort of half body ones than the full body ones. I think there's just something about like trying to figure, I still don't have proportions and working with the nuances of like arms and legs nearly as much. But like, like head and torso, maybe a little bit of arms, I feel like I'm a little more comfortable with. Anyway, now that July is almost over, I think I'll try to focus a bit more on drawing by observation, especially finally getting around to drawing some of the scenes I took pictures of in Japan. And then I didn't draw for like a couple of weeks in here, lots of stuff going on. But what I like doing, I've been trying to draw where I am essentially. When I have extra time and when I'm able to kind of like sit down somewhere and just like observe for a while, then that's a good environment for drawing. And one of the best places is Sunday services. I've done this before, just kind of sketching out when someone's speaking up at the podium. Then I kind of do like a quick sketch of that person while they're talking in the 5, 10, 15 minutes they're talking. I try to get just an approximation, just kind of a general feel of what they look like. I'm not, and I think these are really good. Like these kind of give an idea of how I sort of saw them as an artist. And then I'd also write a couple of quotes that they would say because I want to pay attention to their talks and their sermons and their presentations as well. So as part of that, I kind of like drew a little quote from each of them, and then a little bit of my church building backdrop there as well. And then one final thing. I need to do some finishing touches on this. But yesterday, I was once again in a situation in which I was just kind of sitting around. And I mean, I played games on my phone, whatever, like I do all the time. But I tried to spend at least a little bit of time drawing. I was in a hospital or like a surgical center. Cobweb has been undergoing some minor surgery on her nose to help her. Not a cosmetic surgery. She's trying to basically surgery to help her breathe better through her nose. She's had issues for pretty much her whole life. So she's recovering now. Everything went fine. No complications. Everything's good. But I was sitting for about an hour or so while she was kind of like resting and relaxing. So this is, like my leg here. And I just kind of like quickly sort of like sketched, again, trying to go for just like the general sense, the general feel. I have a hard time trying to draw perfectly accurately, especially with pen. But I feel like at least getting the general sense of the scene, I feel like I did a decent job with this one. So anyway, that's all that I've drawn up to this point. And now I will go into Art Fight here. So if you're not, so I already explained what Art Fight is. But yeah, you can make an account in here, and I chose Team Mystery just because I thought that would be cool. I don't know exactly who won. Probably Team Comedy. I don't know. That was the one that was winning last time I checked. But that's not really the point. I just kind of made a very simple profile and everything, and then these are all the attacks and all the defenses and then all of my characters. So I'll just kind of go over each of these here. So my statistics. I am proud of the fact that my battle ratio is pretty positive. It is strongly weighed toward me attacking more than being attacked, basically, which I appreciate. So 70%, 70%. I have a 70 to 30 ratio of attacking versus being attacked on Art Fight, which is great. I was hoping for that. I wanted to give more than I was receiving. I contributed a total of 288.75 points to my team. But yeah, 12 attacks, 2 friendly fires, 6 defenses. I made 6 characters. I have 20 followers, and I'm following 19 people. But yeah, that's all. That's my overall battle stats, which is the same as the current battle stats, right? But yeah, so my characters are as follows. So yeah, I have Barendipitous, I have Cobweb, I have Yarharet Tintinabular, Aaron, Barendipity, Presta Runa Kane, and Regina Dawn of Lay. And then if you want to see more about any of those characters, you can go to my profile, Barendipitous, on artfight.net and look at all of these. And these are all of my attacks Of course, you saw all of them through my sketchbook and everything. But you can click on any one of these, and you can see any comments that I've made or that others have made and things like that. For example, Pat saying, "Hey, thank you, Baron. That's very cool. I'm sure drawing a more animalistic head ain't easy, but keep it up for real." Um, and so yeah, things like that. I'm not going to go over absolutely everything, but yeah, I had a lot of fun making all of these. Um, I just noticed this has a different lighting. This is probably because I took this picture while I was sitting outside. I was drawing outside. That's probably why this is very different, because this has blue light because it's daylight. Uh, anyway, defenses. I want to go over each of these as well. So I got 6 defenses, 6 attacks against me. Generally by people who I had already attacked. But yeah, so we have Yarharit by Frolicking Ferret. Lovely, lovely sketch. I love this. I love the books here. Brief history of, I think those are like draconic runes or something like that. I love the outfit as well. Fantastic. Yeah, I love dragons and dragon adjacent characters and books, so this was an obvious pick. I also think he has an interesting story. Yeah, I include a brief summary of each of my characters' stories on their pages. But yeah, I said, this is beautiful. Thank you so much for giving Yarharit some love. I'm so glad you like his story. I think that was the first attack I got. And then Bread is Dead. I'm sorry I did not get a chance to attack you, but Bread is Dead made a fantastic, really cool artwork of Regina. I hope you like it. I forgot the shield on her back too late into the process, so I'm sorry about that. And I said, this is wonderful. Regina is one of my favorite characters I've created, and I'm so happy to see some really cool art of her. Don't worry about the shield. Maybe she's resting for a moment before her next journey. So, love this. I love how how I kind of like how rugged the style is too. It's very fitting for the character. I loved this one by Scorpion_Pie. This turned out better than I expected. Materials used Sakura fine liners and watercolor paints. So I guess I got a decent amount of traditional art as well. But yeah, so this is Crossing the River, Yarharit and Regina. I never pictured the two of them in one scene before, but this is really cool. I just love the style of this. Just this beautiful watercolor style of these two fantastic these two characters. And so I said, beautiful. What a wonderful scene. Thank you so much. And then Hyena drew Barandipidus and Cobweb. This absolutely adorable piece of art here. Been meaning to draw you for a while, so why not with Cobweb for real? Fantastic. This is just so cute. I love it. And so, yeah, how adorable. I love it so much. Thank you for the attack. And hey, you're welcome, man. Hope you both like it. We do. We absolutely do. Wonderful. And then Gubby Fall wrote this fun piece of Baron. Knowledge is power. To keep that power, it must be written down. I love it. I love that quote or saying or whatever. So I'm like, marvelous. I've never looked so cool. That's true. I never really wear sunglasses. And then finally, Teasing Fairy by Orclid. I saw this. I actually first saw this on Twitter, and I was just amazed at how good this looks. Thank you so much for drawing Sonai and Al Rouge. You made me the happiest person in the world. Hope you like it. I'm obsessed with the song above. Oh yeah, Blackbriar, Beautiful Delirium. But yeah, so yeah, Teasing Fairy of Cobweb. So yeah, my wife's character, Cobweb, she's very much kind of like sometimes a bit dense, but also sometimes kind of like tricksy as well. You know, she's a fairy druid, and this is a beautiful rendering of that character. So I said I left a comment on Twitter, but not on here. Oops! Thanks so much for drawing Cobweb. Beautiful piece, and the real life Cobweb. My wife loved it as well. So that was my experience with Art Fight in 2026. Yeah, it was great. Everything was honestly very straightforward. I think most of my pieces contributed like 15 to 20 points each or something like that. Even though they weren't colored, a lot of full body and things like that. But yeah, I'll probably participate next year if I can. Yeah, I also talked about Art Fight a little bit with one of my sisters-in-law. I have a sister-in-law who has been participating in Art Fight this is her 8th year, so she's very much a veteran. So, and she's talked about some of, sometimes people have, issues with like, manners or like expecting things or whatever, I didn't really have any expectations. Just, I'll submit some characters in here in case anyone wants to draw them, but I just wanted to draw other people's cool characters. And I think that's very much in the spirit of Art Fight. So that's what I've got for you. My art journey so far. Um yeah, I just you know I don't know exactly how much progress I'm really making as far as my art skills go, but I'm trying to continue to find opportunities to draw wherever I can and making sure that I still have fun in this, really. I don't think I'll really do anything too special for 200, maybe a video for day number 200. Um, but yeah, I'm enjoying the journey so far. I've been very pleasantly surprised by, even though I've been disappointed by some of my art pieces sometimes. Um, I've also been impressed by others as well. So I'm just kind of drawing what I want. I have considered getting into some kind of like curriculum of some kind. I've seen a couple of free curriculums out there. Um, I'm not sure exactly what I would want to do. Any curriculum I do, I'd want it. I would have it be in tandem with just drawing for fun, essentially. I did check. I have still have a bunch of books I've checked out from the library, from a local library about like how to draw, things like that. We'll see. We'll see. I'm still not entirely sure what my next steps will be, but I'm continuing to draw when I can. And thank you very much for following me on this journey. And until next time, all the best.